The advent of digital technologies has led to an abundance of data. As a result, businesses now are able to access a vast amount of data. And with data, a lot of new information comes into picture. Now, there's a study to help us analyze this data, which helps organization in making a valuable, driven, insightful decision. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to University Living YouTube channel. You're watching ULTV Student Diaries. I'm Shifali Shrivastava, your study abroad buddy. The study that helps in analyzing this data is business analytics. By applying statistical modes, data mining techniques, and predictive analysis, businesses can uncover patterns, correlations, and trends that may not be apparent through the traditional methods. That's what the new age media is all about. These insights enable executives and managers to make more accurate and effective decisions by reducing risk and maximizing returns. To discuss more in detail on this topic, we are joined by Yogesh Kumar, student from Trobe University, to bring more knowledge on this topic. Hi, Yogesh, how are you?
Hi, Shafari. I'm doing good. And how are you?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for joining us all across from Melbourne. And right now, you are in your campus only, as I know.
Yeah, that's right. I'm at
So
the Melbourne City campus.
thank you again for sharing this information. I am pretty sure the information that you're going to share with our viewers will be very insightful for them. And with your experience, which I'm going to reveal that later, that from where
Yeah.
Yogesh is joining back from to Australia, he is studying abroad since long back. So we'll discuss that
Mm.
also, but slowly and gradually. Before we start, how is your journey so far in Melbourne?
So far it's been quite vibrant, I would say. It's been like 3 months since I've arrived in Melbourne, and I've had a lot of experiences. I mean, I was able to procure an internship even before I landed in Melbourne. So the first couple of months went by doing a 6 week, 8 week internship, and then I've been able to get a part-time kind of a job using in a customer care age. It's basically a recruiting firm, and so I work there as part-time as of now. And then also my semester is about to come to an end. Maybe this coming Friday is the last day of classes we have. So
Okay.
that's about my first semester here in Melbourne, Australia.
Right, right. Okay, so you mentioned internship. We're definitely going to circle back on this
Yeah,
question as well because you landed an internship before flying back
yeah,
to this country.
yeah.
Now, before we
Yeah.
start, how do you like Melbourne as a city? If we talk about, is it something that is meeting your expectation?
Melbourne. To be honest, Melbourne has left beyond my expectations. So here, Melbourne is considered the most livable city in the world, and it is true to its statement. So when you go out in the city, you won't feel like any other city you're in the world. So people are friendly, people are like cheerful, and you don't feel lonely. Is what I feel most of the times. And I mean, you could, if you're feeling lonely, you just go out to city and you just feel like you're surrounded with lots of people, and I
So,
feel that is integral.
so I'll
That
take that
plays an integral.
I'll take that Melbourne is warm not just by their weather but also by
Yeah.
people mentioned over there. Correct?
Well, it isn't that warm, so yeah, you can say warm
Okay.
by people.
Yeah, you can say that because you're from India, but people who are coming from all across the world, they say
Mhm.
Australia is really warm. For Indians, it's like, okay, fine.
Yeah, maybe might as well make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there are multiple steps and multiple, strategies. Or when I say strategies, I mean you have to plan out your study abroad,
Mhm.
journey. You have experience in this. However, was you required to give any kind of English proficiency test for Latrobe University?
Yes, more so than Lot Latrobe, it was mainly for the visa purposes that I needed an English proficiency test, and I took the IELTS, the computer-based test, and like 2, 3 couple of months before applying for the visa. So that has
Okay.
been the
Okay.
case with me.
So you must have considered other tests as well. Like PT is very popular in Australia if we talk about. So what made you choose only for go for IELTS rather than any other test?
Uh, so I had experience giving the IELTS 6, 7 years back, and maybe that familiarity with the exam structure made me more comfortable with giving the IELTS rather than
Okay.
the PT.
Great. Makes sense. Makes sense. Now, the second step that comes while you're preparing your study abroad journey is the financial planning. Uh,
Mhm.
People think that it's super expensive. It is expensive, but not super expensive. But there are means to, make up your way till that. So, did you took any kind of loan, or is it like self funded trip education? Sorry.
Uh, it is a self-funded process, but for the Australian, I mean, of course, the rules change from country to country, and for people planning for Australia, there is, if it is self-funded, the amount should be in our bank account for a certain period of time, which is close to 3 months. So that is a major point to be noted when doing the financials or stuff like that.
Okay. And did you apply for any kind of scholarship?
Yes, I did apply for a scholarship, and I was able to get a 25% scholarship based on my previous academic records. So
Yeah.
that I feel this is by they consider this year. I mean, I feel most of the Australian universities do consider that on a default basis. So irrespective of you applying or not, they look at your previous credentials, and if they feel the candidate is worthy enough, they'll give the categories accordingly. So there's three categories which I believe, like if you get above 85% in your previous academic credentials, you get 25% of scholarship. If it is above 75, you get 20, and if it is above 60, you get 15. So
Okay.
that's, I feel, that is the basic norm, I guess.
Okay, I would have been surprised if it would have said no, you didn't got a scholarship, because if somebody who has landed an internship before they land,
Yeah.
scholarship, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be very easy way. So, what
Yeah.
other kind of scholarships are there which you would like to highlight? Maybe for student, are there any kind of other scholarship which are like vice chancellor scholarship, which provides 100% tuition free of?
Of course, there are such scholarships not only in La Trobe, even another university like which is quite similar to La Trobe, Deakin. They also do have a 100% scholarship. But talking from a student point of view, like saying like one student saying to another, we are better off getting a scholarship initially rather than than getting one once we come to the university. And once we start a course here, I feel it gets quite intimidated in terms of getting a scholarship. And I mean, of course, there are scholarships, and it's really a long shot getting one. I'm not like discouraging, not as an encouraging as well. So it's
The
just
path is
there
more
are, but
difficult.
yeah, that's right.
Okay, okay, noted. Makes sense. Makes sense. Now, uh, business analytics is a very popular term these days. Like it's been
Mhm.
3 4 years, more than that, I'll say. It's getting very
Mhm.
popular, not just across the globe, but in India also. You
Yeah,
pursued your bachelor's from Chicago, correct? So
yeah.
what made you select Chicago initially? Like you have been study abroad journey from day when you started bachelor's in US, now
Mhm.
you are in Australia. If you can highlight more on this journey, and why did you choose? Were you clear for business analytics from day one, or were your bachelor subjects so different?
For me, so I'll like just go through the my previous academic journey. So I started my undergraduate studies at the University of Illinois at Chicago in 2017, and I graduated from there in 2021. So the course I did was basically called Information and Decision Sciences, which is a emulsion of computer science and business. So business in the sense it has got all the aspects like management, marketing, data, computer science, and also a bunch of other aspects which is common across over there for the undergrad studies. And then in that particular course, I have selected the business analytics specialization. So the reason for choosing business or data oriented subject was I was quite uh, I was quite intrigued by data from my childhood, and that is why I feel I chose business analytics in particular. And even before, like this, this process, the process of applying to UIC happened when I was in my grade 11th and 12th. So ever since like grade 9 or 10th, I was attracted more towards data, and eventually I felt everything fell in place. So yeah.
Data is definitely something which is very intriguing, and
Mhm.
it's easier to fall in love, but difficult to continue with that relationship.
Yeah,
If
that's
you,
right. The
yeah,
more the more higher stages you reach, you feel it it kind of gets on your nerves, but you still need to find a way through it.
right, right. So you did your specialization in Chicago in business analytics also while in the final semesters or year of your college or undergrad college. Now, if we talk
Yes.
about the differences in both the country education system or structure, what
Mhm.
things you think are better over there and what things you think are better over here, or is the structure same with the course same?
What I feel is, when I compare both the academic levels, USA is more of a theoretical or research based process. So you have actual professors who study, like, who go through PhD courses, and they have years of extensive book knowledge, from what I feel, and that was quite common over there. And the major difference I found in Australia was the the Australian educational world is mostly into getting real world perspective into the courses we study. So, the considering my semester at Latrobe right now, I'm taking 4 courses, out of which 3 are taught by industry professionals. Like, they work their 9 to 5 jobs and come down to class at 6 p.m. and take up classes, which I feel is the need of the hour, because I mean, you can gain the knowledge from the books through one professor or the other, but having the real world insights is what makes a particular student stand out when he or she goes to attend an interview.
True. And with these new age media courses, new age courses, if we talk about,
Mm,
these courses are not traditionally settled. There are not so
mm,
much theory around it.
mm.
And with
Yeah, that's
data
right.
and numbers, it's very important that the decision need to be very instant. You can't
Mm,
have a project you created 2 months back and now you can use it. That method will
mm.
not work.
Yeah.
So definitely it's very it's great for the university that they are having guest lectures and faculty from the people who are currently working in the same domain. That also helps you, I believe, students in networking with the correct audience.
Yeah, that's right. As I said, with my professors being in real time, working real time jobs, you'd be able to connect with industry professionals in their circles as well, and also get into the thinking process of how a real world business analyst works, rather than just knowing what a business analyst does. It gives you more knowledge by learning what they actually do in a day to day work experience.
Correct, correct. Makes sense. Now, a little more information on the course. Like you have done your first semester, what things you
Yeah.
have covered in this first semester, and what other chapters or other subjects areas are going to come in the upcoming one. Once you finish your course, what do you think the career graph looks like? Of course, we have discussed that what opportunities lies in the course
Mhm.
beforehand, but for our viewers, if we talk about, if we can share the information in more layman language for them, that would be
Yeah.
great.
So the initial couple of semesters, I would say, will be basically spread across our core subject choices. I mean, which are a must for everyone, and without any one can go through these courses without having a technical background as well, which is what I feel. Even though I have a bit of technical background, so it was quite easy to know the subject and get along through it. As I said, this course is primarily taught with keeping the industry requirements in mind. So, for any business analyst role out there, one needs to know a common skill set, like, which is SQL, Python, R, Power BI, and any other data visualization, which, or the Excel part as well. So,
Okay.
so there's one course which teaches us SQL and R, and another course which teaches us Power BI, Tableau, and stuff like that. And then there's a project management kind of course, which wherein the professor, across the 12 weeks, he describes what the life of a business analyst or anyone looking to enter into the industry right after graduate, what they can expect you what does the market expect you out of. So these are the base understanding of the courses we are taking right now, and going into the next 3 semesters, I feel courses are going to be much more technical. I mean, a level up. That is what I've been seeing. I mean, we can. So the good thing about the campus is like every other batch has classes during almost the similar time. So I was able to connect with with students who have come in my previous intake. So through them, I was able to know what to expect in terms of classes. So I feel there are a bit technical, more technical than the ones we are studying, and it will be useful for anyone looking into specializing a bit more into the studies. So yeah,
Right.
but still, I feel that the courses would eventually be taught keeping the business analyst role in point of view. So yeah.
You must have a lot of options with respect to the university, even if you're considering Australia or US or UK or any other country. What made you choose to go for La Trobe University over others? What features does this university
So
has
yeah,
which helps your course?
yeah. So to make everyone's thinking clear, I went in with two choices only, which is Deakin and La Trobe University, and uh, the main, I mean, everything when you compare Deakin and La Trobe side by side, they rank 50-50. Like they do everything more or less is the same, but the only point of difference which I felt is way more important than anything is the La Trobe's location and in this heart of CBD,
Okay.
whereas Deakin's campus is, I mean, I would not say a bit way far, but it's away from the city, which not only makes commuting difficult, but also getting real world perspective. I mean, here in the city, it is everything is convenient, and also a campus is located amidst various multinational firms are with various multinational firms around us. It feels, you're already into the market yet. Like you don't feel like you're going to college, rather than you feel like you're going out to work. So that mindset kind is what I feel kind of matters much in order to the learning cycle. Yeah.
Right, right. And of course, it helps you in landing more internships and of such opportunities when you are
Yeah,
in the right
exactly. Yeah.
market.
For me, in a way, that is how I got my chance as well in for the internship. So yeah, I would say it gets you more opportunities here.
Now we are on the spot right now. This is the time that I was about to ask this question. You've already mentioned internships, so please highlight how did you land that an internship, and how can others go for it? Is this internship related to your work? Is this going to help? Please share more
Yeah,
information.
well and truly, this it was a business analyst internship, so it well and truly resonates to what I study and what I pursue to work around with. And so the internship I had was at Mars, Australia. Mars is like the chocolate company you guys must have heard about. So I was working for the supply transformation team during my time of during my during my course of the internship. I was able to work predominantly on Power BI dashboards, and also few SQL related stuff as well. And also during the very end of the internship, I was able to get my hands on the SAP analysis as well. So uh, in terms of layman language, again, these are Power BI is also is one of the major skill sets required as a business analyst, which I have mentioned a couple of minutes back as well. The courses you take, one of which has Power BI. So so the main aspect of the internship was getting insights from my higher ups, and then getting the data for the same, and providing those insights into valuable information through the dashboards which I create using Power BI, and also extracting data. And there are a lot of technical terms which one would resonate to while going through it. So uh, yeah, and the way I got the internship was just, I would say, by networking. Maybe I was just part of. I just happened to come across a post by by the hiring manager, and I reached out to him, and there was an interview scheduled, and the due process was followed. Yeah,
Okay, and this post was on which platform?
it was on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is something that will recommend for networking, especially
Mm,
for business
Yeah,
perspective.
of course, that is a must. Like that, without LinkedIn, one really can't expect to get a job or do anything. So yeah, LinkedIn is a must. And
Right.
also not only for job perspective, LinkedIn has way a lot than what normal people think of. Normal, all the audience listening, they would think LinkedIn is just a platform to find jobs or just uh, just see what's happening around. But in a way, LinkedIn is much more than social media, much more than just a job platform. I mean, you can learn courses on LinkedIn, you can have
Correct.
certification given by LinkedIn, and also there's an option. There's a particular option which lets you see the groups for uh, various communities around, like as I said. So considering I'm a business analyst, and if I want to be a part of a business analysis group around Melbourne, I could just search that in terms of the group section, and I would be able to find communities with maybe more than 1,000 members, 2,000 like members. And the best thing about this is, by being part of such groups, there would be various networking nights, networking events, and also chance to connect with hiring managers. I mean, at the end of the day, one of the main aspects of moving abroad is finding a better job, a
Correct.
better life. And I'd say being part of such events or groups would make the chances of you getting a particular role would be higher.
Right.
So yeah,
Right. LinkedIn initially was set up with a B2B networking part only. It was
yeah,
initially the idea was a social network, if you talk about it in your language, social network for business people, for people who are
yeah.
executive managers, CXOs, or like Instagram is for Gen Zs and others, like just to share your
Mhm.
entertainment stuff. Whereas LinkedIn is
Yeah,
all about sharing more concrete business insights and the
yeah,
challenges or struggle one might be feeling go through. So yes, LinkedIn has a lot of potential. A lot of people are yet to discover that, but let's hope
yeah,
that after this conversation, after this information that is shared with them, they'll go ahead and check out LinkedIn from a new perspective, from a new eye altogether. Now,
yeah.
we're almost near the end of our session. I don't, yeah, I will put you in a trouble here. So I'm going to ask you cost of living for Melbourne and Chicago both, if you can. But before
Yeah.
that, I would like to know, as a international student, like before once before you left from India, what personality development has happened across this period for within Chicago, in Melbourne? What
Yeah.
changes you have seen in yourself in positive manner?
Uh, the main change in myself, which I found the moment I left India, was being independent. Like for the first 17 odd years of my life, I haven't even, I would say, I haven't even gone on across a solo trip or anything. So I was surrounded by my family all the time. And the moment I left India, that was a shock for me. And it took it took 2-3 weeks maybe to just go by and just get adjusted. And then what I do feel is, you really tend to get lonely. So that is a major issue, and you need to make sure you come across, like, you need to break that barrier and stay true to yourself and experience the present rather than just feeling bad or feeling lonely in most of the cases. And also, moving abroad makes you more responsible, which is what I feel. I mean, in India, life in general is very calm, very chill. I mean, you just wake up, freshen up, and do your stuff, and just go out to work or study, and then return back, eat, sleep. That's it. But here, uh, you need to start from your basics. Right? You need to wash your clothes, do your dishes, go out grocery shopping, get all this stuff which your parents do in your house, or your maid does, if one has one. So this is this is what I feel is and also the main aspect, cooking. So you also need to cook a lot. I mean, and managing the time is a critical aspect as well. So in a day-to-day life of a student here, you need to do all this stuff and also attend classes, do part-time work, which of course is what I feel most of the students would be doing. And so it in my own words, it kind of differs in how really the changes come across, but eventually everyone will be able to adapt to those changes. But because change is inevitable, so one needs to embrace it rather than try to overcome, like, face through it.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct, correct. And yeah, I believe this is a thing with it. especially with Asians. I'll talk about our families doesn't leave us at all in the initial days. And we are also
Mhm.
very much inclined and attached to them. And then all of a sudden, when we go out, we feel a lot of lonely and
Yeah,
everything changes
that's right.
around us. So it's very obvious. Yeah. And being independent, of course, you don't have anyone to rely on
Yeah.
that who will come and cook your meals or clean your day. You'll have to do everything. And time management is something very crucial, which everyone
Yeah.
should know how to manage
Also,
their time.
yeah. Sorry to cut you out, but there's
And
a
no
silver
problem.
lining to there's a silver lining to this. So all these skill sets which we just spoke around with, consider you're in an interview, and I mean you get to discuss your life experiences as well with your the interviewing manager. So considering you say about all this stuff, which it will definitely enhance your position in the application process, and might as well get you through the door. So you just not feel
Right.
bad about these situations, but rather feel encouraged with them, and also build up on yourself. So yeah, I feel
Correct.
these skills are really essential.
Correct. These are the basic life skills, to be honest, which any person on earth should learn.
Yeah.
If you, by any chance, if you are living a wildlife like Bear Grylls, so you should know how to cook and how to kill also
Mhm.
required.
Yeah.
Hunting, I mean. Just a correction, guys. Okay, now that's there. And yeah, with respect to the interview prospect, things have changed, scenarios have changed, even for education also. Not just academic records, but your extracurricular activities
Mhm.
are also assessed. So these kind of
Yeah.
life situations helps the interviewer understand that how do you perform in pressure, how do you perform when there is a very less limited resources are available. So this shows that you're very much capable of doing and taking care of the work under any kind of situation, which Yogesh just
Mhm.
mentioned, that these things gives you a upper level in front of your interviews as well. And you have a story to talk about. So I think if you have a story to talk about, then you have a life. If you don't have a story to talk
Yeah.
about, then you have a boring life. So let's create a story around us. Now, moving forward, almost done with our session. Now comes the question cost of living, which is a very important aspect for any international student. So you lived in Chicago as well, you lived in Melbourne also.
Yeah.
If I talk about you to compare the cost of living in both the cities, uh, please highlight.
Okay. So over the years, of course, the value has more or less increased. So I'll just say an average number. This might be a bit more, or might be less for people. So in Chicago, I for a, let's say, for a private room, and with moderate expenses like just monthly groceries, room, phone bills, utilities, and all, the total used to come around for 750, $800 a month. So this is if you're if you're in a private room, and it also depends where exactly your university is. So the university I went to, UIC, is right amidst the CBD, the downtown Chicago as well. So the prices are kind of higher in the area I used to stay. So, but still, the average more or less would be 800 to $1,000 a
Okay.
month.
Okay. It includes
Uh,
grocery and everything if you're not partying
yeah,
outside.
yeah, of course it. With just an essential student, I mean, just critical expenses is up to close to 800 to 1,000.
Okay.
And then there is, when you move to Australia, uh, right, Australia right now is in a housing crisis, so you should expect 550 to $100 more than what you're thinking. Like, plan, you need to have an extension of $100 is what I feel is essential these days to get a house. Like, it's getting a house is next to impossible right now, so it's better we just, so once considering whichever house you find, just take it up, so is what I feel. So
Correct.
for here, Australia basically runs on weekly payment basis. So they consider the rents spread across weeks. So they say $250 a week or 300 or whatever. So if one is planning to stay within the CBD, the minimum they should be expecting is 300 a week for a private room. And if there are planning to stay within 10-15 minutes from CBD, the rent is going to be $200 a week. And if they're planning to go beyond, like, say, 35 to 45 minutes from CBD, if they're lucky, they might find one for $150 a week as well.
That's very surprising given that the accommodation crisis is going on.
Yeah, they're going north, but the crisis is mainly it's near to the city. So as everyone's needs are, we need house, we need a place which is close to work, close to uni and everything, right? So if you gotta sacrifice one thing, you need
Right.
to just
If right. If you
you need
want to
to
have
find
a
that balance. Yeah.
correct. If you want to have a cheaper rate, then you might
Mhm.
need to live a little far
Yeah.
from the university in the
Yeah.
city.
So yeah, as a whole, so what I feel is, if you wanna live close to the city, you would be spending close to $1,000 on rent and utilities, and apart from that, another 200 to 250 for your monthly expenses, the groceries and other miscellaneous.
Right.
So at the most, you'd be looking at 1,300 to 1,500
Right.
if you are living in a private room.
Correct.
So
Correct.
if you do a shared basis, you can get that cost down to 900 or even 800 maybe.
Okay.
And the same
Right.
applies to Chicago, US as well.
Correct.
But
And I
but
believe
the
right. Yeah.
yeah,
Please go ahead.
but also the another point to be noted is cost of living seems high in Australia, but the pay is equally high. So the average pay is like $22 to $23. So if you go by the 24-hour working limit from which is about to be started in August, you could still be able to earn more than $2,400 and take out the taxes out of them, and at least you'd be having $1,800 in hand, and that's way more sufficient for a student, which is what I feel.
Correct. Correct.
And of course, there's always the prospect of working full-time hours or unlimited hours in the break time. So that is a major boon for students, which is what I feel has also led me to move to Australia rather than any other country, because the student life and also having getting to work. I mean, as an international student, I was able to work full time during my classes, which was next to impossible, which is impossible, not even next, which is impossible in US if you had to do it without any hassle. Like if you want to do the same in US, you need to go through an OPT process, CPT. There's a lot of hassle which involves the which has various visa risks as well. So if you use up your visa OPT status during your course, that wouldn't be continued in the future. Something like there are a lot of irregularities there, but here in Australia, it is more student friendly in terms of international students. So
Correct, correct. And with accommodation crisis as of now,
yeah.
it's better, it's always recommended to book early. If you book early, there are chances that you might have a house before you land. A lot of students
Yeah.
think that, we'll just book a house or book a flat or book a PBSA also once we land over there, or once we are done with the whole process, once we are ready to fly. In this, what happens, the cost also increases because
Yeah,
the
it is.
end time is very
It's
near.
more than the cost increasing. You won't be finding a suitable house.
Correct,
Like
correct.
if you go ahead of time, you would have choices in front of you. But
True,
if you
true.
don't act ahead of time, you need to just depend on whatever's left out, which I feel would wouldn't wouldn't have been necessary had you had one finalized
Planned
stuff
early.
way in advance. Yeah.
Correct, correct. So University Living can help you over there. So do go check out our
Yeah.
website for that. Almost like done, Yogesh. Thank you so much for joining us. But before we wrap up, you
Yeah.
didn't use University Living services, but you came across our community. How has your
Yeah.
experience been so far over there? Just want to understand that. Do you think that we are creating that difference in a student journey?
Yeah, the WhatsApp group in particular, I honestly feel it has made a huge difference in what I expected as an international student. Like having, I was pretty much in a similar situation, though I've been to Chicago and all, but Australia is altogether a new country, and you again start off from basics. So I was quite uh, unknowing of what to expect in here in Melbourne, and that the Study Melbourne group in particular was really helpful by University Living, and I was able to find critical information on how to find accommodation, where to find accommodation, and stuff like that. And yeah, that's about it, maybe.
Great. Thank you so much. Now, before we end our conversation, do you have any 2 cents of advice for any aspirant who's planning their study abroad journey, regardless of the country that they are planning?
Uh, I'd say, I mean, my own sense would be the main purpose we all move abroad is to get a better, to get a high paying job, which what I feel is true. And in order to do so, it doesn't matter which university they go to. It really matters on what skill sets they have and uh, how they work on their networking skills and being able to going out in the market and building up connections, and hope eventually one of the connections would turn by itself. So yeah, and there'll be many setbacks. There'll be numerous setbacks. You just don't need to give up. So yeah, that would be
Okay.
it.
So I'll say networking and don't give up. That's the spirit that you need to. You need to, if
Yeah,
you're
that's
getting
fine.
to question yourself, it's fine to question your
Yeah,
decision also, that why did I came here? Why couldn't I be at my domestic country?
yeah.
But you are there to
Of
have a
course, every
better.
international student would have that
Yes,
very
with this
question in this.
question, correct, correct.
Yeah,
So you are there to have a better life, to have a better living, to have a better career. You need to focus on that, and the path might seem difficult, but the journey and the destination ultimately, that will be something that you needs to wait worth for.
yeah.
On this
And
note, we'll be close. Yeah,
yeah, and also to add on to my sense, I would say the the study the study part is the main thing as well. You need to follow the due process around it. It doesn't matter. It's not like you got to give up your class timing for extra work as well. It doesn't matter if you give up extra work or stuff, but going to attending the classes is a critical part, and hopefully people stay true to that. So yeah.
correct, correct. Being focused is very important. That's what we were saying also, that the journey is important, and the journey is through the college itself, through the university itself. So you
Yeah.
need to give importance to that also. So on this note, we'll be closing our session. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you
Yeah.
found it useful. Looking forward to seeing you guys next Friday at 5 p.m. Stay tuned to our social media handles for more information. Thank you so much, Yogesh, for joining us.
Thank you, Shafari.